The daily worries of the modern world and the noise around us affect everyone's life. In this regard, stress is always with us in our daily lives. That's why we sometimes react emotionally to what happens around us, automatically responding to events. This means you lose control over your feelings and decisions. But have you ever thought about what would happen if, instead of reacting, you started to control your mind? Many people try to find solutions to their inner chaos in the external environment. However, true change starts from within. The problem is not our surroundings, but how we approach what happens around us. The way to a peaceful life is not to avoid problems, but to face them with clarity. In this video, we will discuss how to transform your anxiety into strength and ways to instantly reduce stress. Now is the real time to stop being a slave to your emotions and train your mind. If you want to find inner peace, don't wait. Start changing right now. First of all, transform the anxiety inside you into strength, because this is the key to an unshakable mind. Anxiety is an inner flame. It either destroys us or gives us resilience. The difference between the two depends on how we approach anxiety. It's not the anxiety that stops you, but your reaction to it. Stoic philosophers understood that all anxieties come not from external events, but from the meaning we give them. If you learn to channel your anxiety, you will discover the power that once seemed unreachable. Many people try to escape anxiety, suppress it, or distract themselves. However, what is ignored doesn't disappear. It only grows in the shadows. The only way to defeat fear is to go through it. To do this, instead of asking yourself, "Why do I feel this way?" ask, "What can I do with this?" Anxiety is not your enemy, it's a sign that you need to take action. See it not as an obstacle, but as a signal that reminds you of your decision-making power. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If something outside of you disturbs you, the problem is not in that thing, but in your opinion of it, and changing that opinion is in your hands." Anxiety is energy. It can be directed. Instead of allowing it to destroy you, learn to turn it into action. If you feel anxiety before an important task, it shows how much that task matters to you. Remember, only the things we care about create excitement and anxiety in us. Therefore, instead of trying to suppress or avoid this feeling, use it as a tool for success. Take a deep breath, feel the anxiety, and move forward anyway. Because anxiety is not a weakness, it's a signal. You're on the threshold of growth. Great athletes, artists, and speakers, they all experience anxiety before stepping onto the stage. The difference is that they can turn this energy into motivation. You can do the same. Fear and anxiety should drive you to take action, not to stop. Mental control is not about completely eliminating fear, but learning to move forward with it. True strength lies in accepting the presence of anxiety, but not allowing it to control you. When you feel anxiety arise, don't resist it. Simply understand what it's trying to tell you and direct it. If you can make peace with this feeling, no obstacle in life will be able to stop you. What robs you of control is not the events happening around you, but how you respond to them. Many people get swept up in the flow of events, becoming angry, hurt, and acting without thinking. The environment, other people's behaviors, and unexpected events determine their mood. However, true power lies in controlling your inner world, not the outer world. Think of a moment when you were angry, excited, or anxious. If you could have stepped back and observed that moment, wouldn't you have acted differently? Sometimes the things that affect us are not as important as we think. A person's words, a flaw, plans not going as expected. These things lead us to irrational emotional reactions. But remember, you always have the choice of how to react. Mental control is not about suppressing your feelings. On the contrary, it's about calmly observing them, understanding where they come from and why they arise. Stoic philosophers understood that true power is not in reacting reflexively, but in stopping to think before taking action. They knew that, while it may be difficult to change the course of life, controlling one's thoughts and reactions is always within a person's power. Imagine yourself in the middle of a great storm. The winds are trying to push you in different directions. These winds are your emotions: anger, excitement, fear, sadness. If you get caught in them, you will lose control. But if you stop and simply observe, you will see that the winds cannot knock you down. You can stand firm within them, calm and resolute.
Remember these 3 steps to strengthen your mind.
1. Pause and take a deep breath. Take a moment to pause before reacting impulsively. This brief pause will give you the opportunity to manage your emotions. 2. Evaluate the situation objectively. Ask yourself, is this really such a big problem? And can I view this differently? 3. Respond consciously. Reacting is easy, but acting thoughtfully requires true strength. Choose how to respond in every situation. Remember, you must be the master of your emotions, or they will become your master. The person who controls their mind is not the one who gets angry, but the one who chooses how to manage their anger. True strength lies not in reacting, but in the brief pause you take before taking action. Change begins now. Observe yourself. The next time you feel anxiety or are about to react to an event, stop and think, can I take control of this moment? The key to an unshakable mind is not eliminating anxiety, but transforming it into strength. Be the master of your mind, and don't be a slave to your emotions. Don't be a slave to your emotions. Be the master of your mind. A person who reacts without control is like a ship that has lost its rudder in the sea, being tossed around by the waves. Anger, fear, anxiety, when not managed, all of these pull a person away from themselves. However, the one who learns to stop and think will be the master of their own fate. How will you do this? To stop reacting and manage your mind, you must practice the pause technique. When something irritates you, angers you, or makes you anxious, don't respond immediately. Just stop, observe your feelings, try to understand what's causing them and where they're coming from. Ask yourself this question: what will I gain by reacting without thinking? In most cases, the answer will be nothing. On the contrary, if you react impulsively, you may make the situation even more tense. People make many mistakes in anger. They regret their words and actions. Simply stopping to think allows you to choose the best course of action. Calmness is not submission, it's strength. Not reacting, staying silent. Remaining calm is not a weakness, but a doorway to acting with wisdom. Because when you decide not to react, you are acting under the guidance of your thoughts, not your instincts. A person with inner calm can make decisions even in the most chaotic situations. Don't become a slave to your emotions. Master them. Marcus Aurelius knew very well that the mind is the final fortress. No one has the right to control your mindset unless you allow them to. Life's trials, the control of your mind is in your hands. Life will present challenges every day. People who irritate you, situations that test your patience, events that throw you off balance. There will be unexpected difficulties, injustices, and people trying to provoke you. However, the real test lies not in these things happening, but in how you decide to deal with them. The world may be chaotic and disordered, but if you can control your mind, nothing can shake you. What affects you is not the events themselves, but the meaning you give them. It's not the words of a person that makes you angry, but your reaction to those words that disturbs you. If you can take this power from them and control it yourself, no one can throw you off balance. Self-control is like a muscle that gets stronger. If you want to control your mind, you must develop self-control like a muscle. It is not just a one-time decision, but a skill that must be practiced daily. When you feel the urge to react, take a deep breath and wait. Sometimes just a 5-second pause can completely change the situation. Remember, don't let a fleeting emotion destroy everything you've built. Words spoken in a moment of anger, thoughtless decisions, impulsive actions can ruin the respect, relationships, and even the future you've gained over the years. Instead, choose to act with wisdom, precision, and strategy. This is not being indifferent, but being calm and controlled. Calmness is not weakness, it is power. The true strength lies in being the person who can maintain inner calm while observing the chaos around them. Every time you feel forced to react, remember, you are not a slave to your instincts. You are the architect of your fate. In a noisy world, finding peace begins with changing how we respond to this constant chaos. Calmness is an inner state, independent of external circumstances. Even when surrounded by activity and noise, we must strive to maintain our inner peace. Stoics highly valued this concept. They learned to be calm in the face of nature and life's pressures, finding tranquility within themselves. Marcus Aurelius understood that peace depends not on external calm, but on a person's internal state. He led as emperor during times of war and plague, yet he sought to maintain his inner peace amidst all of this. His words are, "Peace doesn't come from the outside, but when you change how you approach things, you will find it." Understanding this means stopping the search for peace in the external world and instead starting to build it within your own world. For example, when you are in a stressful situation, taking a deep breath, slowing your thoughts, and shifting to a positive mindset can help create inner peace. When faced with external noise, instead of fighting it, you must exhibit a calmer and more controlled approach. This approach focuses on finding peace within ourselves, without relying on external objects, experiences, or relationships. Finding and maintaining inner peace is the greatest wealth. Calming the mind means learning to clear the mind, and this requires us to constantly direct our attention to something. The first step is crucial, choosing where to direct your focus. This plays a key role in controlling your life and managing the chaos. Even if we are surrounded by the external noise of the world, we can begin to preserve our inner peace by deciding what to accept and where to focus our attention. Epictetus had a profound understanding of this. He said, "It's not the noise that disturbs us, but the power we give it." This is truly the essence of the matter. How we approach everything in the external world, what news we read, who we associate with, and most importantly, what we accept shapes our inner state, giving power to thoughts and emotions that increase our anxiety, and stress only brings more confusion. The fundamental question is this: will you allow the external world to determine your internal state? Because if we make ourselves constantly slaves to external influences, our inner world can never be calm. The world will always be noisy, fast and chaotic, so instead of fighting it, we must learn to coexist with it. Managing our minds means seeing the noise, but not getting caught up in it, not allowing it to control our minds. This means not waiting for the world to be perfect in order to find peace. If you always wait for the external environment to be perfect, you will never find comfort. Perfection is an illusion, but achieving inner calm is possible. To find peace, we don't need to wait for the external circumstances of the world to change. We only need to learn to filter ourselves. In other words, we should remove what is insignificant and unnecessary from our lives, focusing only on what is important and valuable. By doing this, we can begin to maintain our inner peace. For progress, discipline is needed, not motivation. Motivation is a weak and unstable feeling. Even though it may feel strong, it fades away quickly. One day, you feel ready to conquer the world. But the next day, everything seems like a heavy burden and excitement fades. Emotions are fluctuating, uncertain, and in most cases, unreliable. If you rely solely on motivation to move forward, you will find yourself in a constantly changing cycle. However, there is something stronger and more enduring than motivation: discipline. Stoics understood this perfectly. Discipline is the conscious decision to do what needs to be done without waiting for inspiration or motivation. This means regardless of your mood, desire, or circumstances, even on days when everything seems difficult and overwhelming, you must rise and keep going. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you feel lazy in the mornings, remember, I rise to do the work required of me as a human being." He spoke not about waiting for motivation, but about the responsibility of taking action. Here's the key difference. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a habit. Motivation fades, but discipline stays. People who rely on motivation are constantly searching for stimuli, motivational videos, speeches, and success quotes. But this only has a temporary effect. None of this will help you if deep inside you want to give up and can't continue even when you have no desire. Discipline, however, is a habit that ensures progress without requiring any additional motivation. The key to a strong and stable life. It is not about doing the right thing when you feel inspired, but doing it even when you have no energy. A man who reacts without control is a slave to his emotions. True strength is not in what you have, but in who you are after losing everything. Life will test you. The question is, will you be ready or not? Don't wait for the world to be easy. Make yourself stronger. Don't wait for your problems to disappear. Develop the ability to deal with them. You cannot fight fate. You must understand it and use it to your advantage. Many people live in a constant battle with reality. When things don't go the way they want, they become disappointed. But this resistance only leads to suffering. Accepting fate doesn't mean surrendering. It means realizing that the forces you cannot control will continue on their path. Imagine one day you suddenly lose your job. You may fall into despair, complain about injustice, and reject the new reality. Or you could accept the situation and look for alternative ways. Life won't stop for what you've lost, but it will give you the opportunity to build something new. The Stoics knew that you cannot control life, but you can control how you react to it. No matter what happens in life, adapt to the changes and learn to use every situation to your benefit. Most people associate chaos with losing control. You can't completely eliminate the disorder in the world, but you can learn to face it with a strong mind. To think like a Stoic means to understand that chaos is not the enemy, but an unchanging part of reality. You can't prevent problems from arising, but you can decide how to respond to them. Instead of seeing chaos as a threat, you must accept it as part of change. Resistance to change only leads to unnecessary suffering. Rigidity will break you, but flexibility will ensure your progress. If you live in fear of chaos, you will be a weak person. You will seek security in everything, become easily anxious, and freeze when things don't go as planned. But absolute security is an illusion. No plan is flawless, no rule is unbreakable. The world will continue to move in unpredictable ways, and the only real choice is to learn to adapt without losing your balance. One of the Stoics' key principles was that internal control is truly the only thing you have. You can't determine what will happen tomorrow, but you can control how you handle any situation. Someone may criticize you, but you can't stop them. However, you can choose whether to accept those words as an attack or as an opportunity to learn. The difference between someone drowning in chaos and someone managing it lies in how they perceive it. The fear of chaos comes from the desire for everything to be stable and the belief that everything must be under control. But if you accept that life is uncertain, you will stop suffering for things you can't control. Fear weakens when you realize that you don't need to control the world, only yourself. Think of the ocean. The waves are unpredictable. They can be calm or strong, but a good sailor does not try to stop them. Instead, they learn to move with them, read their rhythms, and use their power to their advantage. The Stoic mindset is exactly the same. Choosing calm in the midst of every disturbance proves you are not a slave to the situation. Problems and injustices will always exist, but use your energy not to complain, but to develop a strong mind. Difficulties will never go away, but when you decide to face them without fear, their impact on you will diminish. If you learn to see chaos not as an enemy, but as a teacher, every obstacle will become an opportunity for growth. Therefore, don't let uncertainty paralyze you. Move with it, learn from it, and use it to become a stronger person. Because life is not about preventing chaos, but learning to act wisely, patiently, and in control within it. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share your thoughts in the comments. See you again soon.